The emperor, who had 1,000 years of divine power, still did not dare to say these words all day long. You can imagine how he felt when he heard him say that. But he could not do anything about him, so he said, "You can't save everyone." So, he went down to the mortal world without hesitation. So, the war did not subside, but burned even more fiercely. If Shiona was still lingering, then His Royal Highness the Crown Prince would have killed it. After the destruction of the country, people finally discovered something. To put it bluntly, isn't it just a waste who is more likely to cause trouble than to do good? 8,000 palaces and temples were burned for 7 days and 7 nights, and burned to ashes. If people say you are God, you are God. If they say you are shit, you are shit. And if they say you are something, you have to be something. It is so. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince could not accept this fact no matter what. What he could not accept even more was the punishment he had to accept, exile. He grew up in Oz, of pampering, and had never suffered the sufferings of the world. This punishment made him fall from the clouds to the muddy ground. In this muddy ground, he experienced hunger, poverty, and dirtiness for the first time. It was also the first time that he did things he never thought he would do in his life: stealing, robbing, cursing, and self-destruction. He lost all his faith and self-esteem. It was so ugly that even the most loyal servants could not accept his change and chose to leave. The person who said this has personally proved that when he himself is in the hell, he can't be in the paradise. He ascended to the sky quickly and fell to the ground faster. A glimpse of the Shenwu Road, a thought bridge to meet demons and immortals. It seems like it was just yesterday, but the heavens sighed for a while, and it was over. Throughout the ages, the priests who were exiled either fell into a slump or fell into the ghost world. There were few who could turn over after being beaten down. The second ascension was well-deserved and vigorous. A stick of incense. It can be said to be the fastest and shortest ascension in history. Who would have thought that after being demoted this time, he did not become a demon, and he was quite honest in adapting to the exiled life. There was nothing wrong with him. The only problem was that he was too serious. The gods and the mortals were shocked. After all, he was once a prince of a rich family and a priest in the immortal class. It was really unbelievable that he had fallen to this point. The so-called laughing stock of the 3 realms was just like this. The statue of the god collapsed. The homeland was destroyed. No believers were left. And he was gradually forgotten by the world. So, no one knew where he wandered to. The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Who knew that he just said unbelievable, and then he saw that all the gods and Buddhas in the sky were struck. That famous weirdo. The laughing stock of the 3 realms. The legendary prince, he, fucking ascended again. Congratulations, Your Highness? Lin Wenzhen stood with his hands behind his back and said, "Congratulations on winning the first place in the list of priests most hoped to be demoted to the mortal world in this GRC period." Lin Wen said, "Yes. The first place on this list can get 100 merits." Lin Wen said, "Do you know who is the second place?" Lin Wen said, "Almost. There is no second place. You're so far ahead that no one can catch up." Lin Wen said, "No, because this list has only been established this year. Or to be precise, today." Lin Wen said, "You can also think that you just happened to catch up and won the first place." Lin Wen continued, "Do you know why you won the first place?" Lin Wen said, "Let me tell you the reason. Please look at the clock." But he looked for a long time and asked, "Are you pointing in the wrong direction? Where is the clock?" Silian looked carefully again and said truthfully, "I didn't see it. Double quotes ... Silian said, "This ... is it? Okay, now, see, Lian, I'm talking about the priest who was hit." She pointed again, and Zilian looked again, and saw the dazzling glazed golden roof in the mist, and said, I saw it this time. ... Is the responsibility mine? Zilian confirmed, "Did I offend many priests when I first came here? Then how can I redeem myself?" See? Lian laughed again. Zilian said frankly, "How should I put it? Although I'm very embarrassed, even if you want 1/10,000th, I can't give it to you." After laughing, Zilian asked seriously, "Are you willing to kick me out of here now and give me 8.88 million merits?" With a long sigh, Zilian said, "Let me think about it again." Zilian said, "I am. The boat will sink when it reaches the bridge." Needless to say anyway, There is nothing. The priests of the upper heaven jointly set up a set of arrays, which can make the spirit consciousness communicate with the spirit in the array instantly. After ascending, you must enter the array, but you need to know the password, so that the spirit consciousness can search for a specific spiritual array. Xilian entered the array last time 800 years ago, and he didn't remember what the password was at all. He released his spirit consciousness to search for a formation, and saw a formation that looked a bit similar, so he entered it randomly. As soon as he entered the formation, he was knocked over by the shots from all directions. I bet a year. Stop it, idiot. 3 days are almost up. Can you do it? Wrong. It's definitely not this. After he left, he searched randomly again and entered another one randomly. This time, Xilian felt relieved and thought, it's so quiet, it's probably this one. The voice sounded very comfortable at first. The voice was soft and the tone was gentle. But if you listen carefully, you will find that the voice is very cold. The mood is very cold, and the mood is also very cold, which makes the softness seem a bit malicious. How could he know that after this question and answer, all the priests who were in the spiritual communication formation at the moment pricked up their ears? In the upper heaven, it can be said that emperors and generals are everywhere, and heroes are flowing like water. Although he has a prince on the left and a prince on the right, people can't feel that he has any respect. But it seems like he is poking people with needles. There were several other priests in the spiritual communication array who were also genuine His Royal Highnesses. They were also frightened by his calling that they felt uncomfortable all over. Xilian had heard that the other party had bad intentions, but he didn't want to compete with him. He thought to himself, I'll run away. He smiled and said, not bad. But the priest didn't give him a chance to run. He said indifferently, Your Royal Highness, it's not bad, but my luck is not so good. She only said one word, Zhang. So this is the martial guard who was hit by the bell. The other party snorted, unable to figure out what he meant. As soon as this was said, the other party fell silent. Lingwen on the other side sent him another voice message. Your Highness, although I think you won't not recognize him after talking for so long, I still want to remind you, that's Zhuangzhen. He paused for a moment before reacting, and sent back a voice message with a little shock. Is this Mu Qing? And this General Zhuangzhen, whose real name is Mu Qing, was a deputy general standing under the throne of the crown prince in Xiong Palace 800 years ago. Xilian said, I really didn't recognize him. He didn't talk to me like this before, and I can't remember the last time I met him. It was either 500 years or 600 years ago. I can't even remember what he looks like. How can I still recognize his voice? Speaking of these two, it's also quite embarrassing. The twists and turns have been passed down for so many years, and everyone already knows most of it. Back then, Xilian was the prince of Xiongnu and practiced in Huangji Temple. Huangji Temple was the royal temple of Xiongnu Kingdom, and the standard for selecting disciples was strict. Mu Qing was born in a poor family, and his father was a beheaded criminal. Such a person was not qualified to enter Huangji Temple, so he could only work as a handyman, cleaning the Taoist room and serving tea and water for His Royal Highness the Crown Prince in the temple. Xilian saw that he worked hard, so he asked the national teacher to make an exception and accept him as a disciple. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince said so, and Mu Qing was able to enter the temple to practice with the Crown Prince. After ascending to heaven, Xilian also appointed him as a general and took him to Xiangjing together. At first, one was in heaven and the other was on earth, and now one is in heaven and the other is on earth. But the situation of the two people has completely changed. Xilian said, I guess so. Xilian said, no need. Just pretend nothing happened. Xilian said, not bad. This rule made the scalps of the gods in the array explode. He laughed twice. Hi. Mu Qing said indifferently, I didn't say it was me. Don't spit blood. Mu Qing said, no, what you said is just funny. The people who demolished your golden palace are now in the spiritual array. Ask yourself. He coughed dryly and said, it was me. Sorry. Lingwen's voice came to his ear again. Your Highness, that's Nan Yan. Lingwen said, no. He just wandered more in the mortal world and rarely returned to Xiangjing. He didn't know that you had ascended again. His real name was Fang Din. 800 years ago, he was the first god general under the throne of the Prince of Xiongnu Palace. Feng Din was a loyal man. He had been Zilian's bodyguard since he was 14 years old. He grew up with the prince, ascended to heaven with him, was demoted with him, and was exiled with him. Unfortunately, they did not survive these 800 years together. In the end, they parted ways unhappily and never saw each other again.